Well, limited applause for the member who just took his seat. Mr. Speaker, in the regulatory impact statement for this bill, one of the first bullet points that they say is the main objectives of this bill is to emphasise value for money within each activity class, which is very interesting, given that the Kapiti Expressway has a benefit cost ratio of just 0.2 and is one of the projects that the government is crowing about the roads of national significance. And a leaked report by the engineering consultants Becker last year showed that the $515 million investment would yield a return of just $118 million over 30 years, or, as I said, a cost-benefit ratio of just 0.2%. So I wonder, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the government's objective of emphasising value for money within each activity class with this bill, it is that the Kapiti Expressway meets that objective. Because, Mr. Speaker, it would seem to me on the face of it, when you're spending $515 million on something and you get a cost-benefit ratio of $118 million over 30 years, that is a pretty awful investment. And, Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge the people and the communities of Raumati South, Raumati Beach and the Kapiti Coast, because this bill proves their fear that they've held since December 2009, that this government is blinded by its roads of national significance agenda to push through massive roading projects against economic argument, against environmental argument, and most of all, which is most concerning, against the communities and the community transport needs. Mr. Speaker, this bill shows that this government is hell-bent, hell or high water, that huge roads of national significance will go through and will ruin people's lives, people's communities, and make no economic sense. This bill will allow the government to do more borrowing for this roads of national significance scheme. We're already told that the cost-benefit ratio of these roads just simply doesn't stack up. Simply doesn't stack up. And I just wanted to again repeat that the leaked report from Becker last year showed that a $515 million investment would yield just a return of $118 million over 30 years. Mr. Speaker, the economic case doesn't stack up with the Kapiti Expressway, and the community argument doesn't stack up. The environmental case doesn't stack up. Mr. Speaker, I have here with me, just in front of me, the signatures of 4,072 people, mostly from the Kapiti Coast, who are opposed to the Kapiti Expressway. Opposed to the Kapiti Expressway. And let me go through some of the comments that have come through here. I've just picked a random page, but I'm sure it will be awful for the government. To Minister Stephen Joyce, quite simple, stop the proposed motorway going through the Kapiti Coast. Another one from Joe Donovan. I agree with this petition and hope that the government will think carefully to do what's best for this thriving community. I agree with this petition and hope the government will think carefully to do what's best for this thriving community. But as we know, Mr. Speaker, this government has not. It has pushed on with the Kapiti Expressway, and I find it very interesting, and given some of the messages that were sent to the people of the Kapiti Coast by the government in terms of what the roading solution was going to be for the Kapiti Coast. Because in December 2009, Stephen Joyce dropped the bombshell on the people of Raumati South and Raumati Beach, Mr. Speaker, that the expressway was coming. But let's look at what Nathan Guy said in February of that year. I am working hard with Mayor Jenny Rowan to get this project started this year, as the funding has already been allocated. The Transport Minister, Steve Joyce, he says here, they must be friends, will be briefed on this project when he visits the Otaki Electric next month to understand how important it is. But as we all know, Nathan Guy got rolled. And the last, and I think the most important quote here in his press release says, I see the Western Link Road, rail electrification to Waikanai and extending the safety barrier from Mackay's Crossing to Paikakariki as a really important package for our region. Well, in February 2009, Mr Guy thought that, but in December 2009, this government changed its tune and broke its promise to the people of Kapiti.
Julianne Genter.
Mr Speaker.